Hi everybody out there in Webland. My name is Maggie Leedy and I'm here today with TTAP to talk to you about partnering with One Stops to facilitate customized employment outcomes. This is a two-part series. I'm part one and I'm just going to be talking about one-stop centers, one-stop career services and what they have to offer. And then my colleague Lisa Cuozzo will be part two, coming up shortly. Today you're going to learn a lot of things about one-stop career centers. To start with, what kind of law made this happen, and that's the Workforce Investment Act. We're going to be talking about that. We're going to be talking about what exactly is a one-stop career center and the services available within a one-stop career center. One-stop career centers are mandated to provide universal access. What is universal access? We will be talking about that, and mostly we're going to be talking about how a one-stop career center can benefit you and your job seeker customers. The Workforce Investment Act was signed into law August 7th, 1998. The goal of the law was to consolidate and streamline employment and training services. This was much needed. We've always had great employment and training services in the United States, but streamlining was not always the forte. So that is the goal of the Workforce Investment Act. It replaced the Job Training and Partnership Act, and for those of you who have been in the system as long as I have, also CETA before that, but we won't age ourselves too much. So we'll stick with replacing the Job Training and Partnership Act. The Workforce Investment Act was designed to really meet the needs of two primary customers. One, businesses who hire people, and job seekers who are looking to be hired. It really made great sense. Let's serve both of these customers in one place, hence the one-stop concept. Through the one-stop, this is a place where businesses can come and look for the employees look for the employees that they need, and also employees can come in and look for the kinds of jobs they're looking for. It also focuses on meeting business needs. Let's figure out what businesses today and in the future are going to need and train people to meet those needs. So it's really a win-win for anybody coming into the one-stop. One-stops. I love this concept. I've worked for a long time in the disability field, where we had disability employment training. There's always seemed to me very separate from employment and training. But when I learned more about the one-stop or the Workforce Investment Act, I realized there were a lot of silos out there. There was the disability employment silo, but there were also separate services for older workers. There were separate services for low-income adults, for veterans, for offenders, for people who've been laid off recently, for people who don't speak English, for youth, for people who receive TANF or welfare recipients, Native Americans, et cetera, et cetera. There were great programs, funded well, providing training, employment support for all of these different groups, but they were all separate. So if you didn't fit exactly into one of them, for example, if you were an older worker who also had a disability, where did you go? If you were low income and also had just gotten out of jail, where did you go? And by the time you went through all the eligibility criteria of these different programs, it got very confusing and many people didn't get any services. So the Department of Labor looked at these services that they've been funding for a long time and said, how can we make this easier for a job seeker? How can we make this make sense to both the job seeker and the business community? So they created this one-stop career center. The one-stop career center mandates programs that suit and fit all of these job seekers. So when somebody who's a older worker comes into a one-stop, somebody who's a youth comes into a one-stop, somebody who's a farm worker comes into one-stop, a person with a disability, et cetera, all the services are located there in one place. For those of you that work in the rehab world, which I assume most of you do, it's very similar to person-centered planning. Let's find out what a person needs and get all the services around them for them. And that's what we're doing in One Stop Career Center. Again, it's a place that provides employment support, but also training assistance. A lot of people come into a one-stop career center. Maybe they've had the same job for 20 years and they've been laid off because that job no longer exists, and they're not going to find another job in that career. They certainly have skills. They certainly still have interest, and maybe with a little training in a new field or a similar field, they will go back and be as productive as they were before. All of that can happen in the one-stop center. The one-stop provides job search and career planning assistance and by providing tools, connections, and resources all in one place. What do we mean by tools, connections, and resources? By tools, we mean really physical tools. If you don't have a computer at home, if you don't have access to a fax machine, a telephone, a copier, these tools are available in a one-stop career center, all at no charge. Connections. If all the people providing services to older Americans, youth, people with disabilities, et cetera, are all in one place, that means all the connections they have, all the networking they've done over the years is also available in one place. It is a great place for connections and for linking up with things that people need. Resources. Many, many resources in a one-stop career center. Employment resources, of course, but also resources that will help somebody in their job search. You may need a job, but you also may need assistance with clothing or housing or childcare. Where do you go for that? The one-stop career center. Those resources are available, or linkages to all those resources are available in the one-stop career centers. The other service are services to the business community. Businesses have not always been linked in with an employment and training providers. We would train people and get them ready for work and then approach businesses. This brings businesses in well before we just go out and start knocking on their door. We ask businesses, what are you looking for in your employees now, and what will you be looking for in the future? And then we set up training programs to provide those kinds of training services to job seekers that come into the one-stop. The other services that are provided, say you're a small business and you don't have the money or the resources to put a big ad in a local newspaper, or your site isn't big enough to do recruitments. All that can be done in a one-stop center. So businesses come into career centers and they do recruitments, they interview, they look for their next employees actually in the one-stop center. This is a benefit to the job seeker and certainly a benefit to the business because they are able to come in and access employees that are ready to go to work. What isn't a one-stop center? What we are not? It is not a place where a job seeker will just come in and find a job. It is not a temp agency that has a whole list of jobs and then does an evaluation of you and matches you to that job. But it is a place where if you are looking for a job and need some assistance to find the job that you want, that assistance is available in the one-stop career center. How does this whole one-stop career center thing work? Where does the money come from? The Department of Labor is the overall funding source for the Workforce Investment Act. But what they didn't want was to decide or govern over local jurisdictions because they don't always know what individual communities need. So the money flows from the federal government to the state workforce investment boards. Workforce investment boards are made up, 51% are business members of these boards. So businesses have a big part in deciding who will get training, who will come in, who will be served, and also what kind of training is needed for the job seekers coming into the one-stop. So they play a big part in decision making for money for the one-stops locally. The local areas, the same thing applies. It's 51% local businesses, and they decide on a local level, community level, what are the businesses, what are the business needs, and how can we really support businesses in finding employees. We've always done a lot of work in getting people ready for jobs, but now we have the business input saying this is what we're looking for. And then last but certainly not least, the local one-stop career centers, which is where the action really takes place, where the one-stops are set up. They are serving job seekers, lots and lots of job seekers, and businesses, the area businesses. How many one-stop career centers are there, you may ask? Well, there are 3,400 one-stop career centers across America. This slide depicts little by little red dots where they all are. 1,897 of them are comprehensive one-stop centers. There's a difference between comprehensive centers and satellite offices. So a comprehensive center is a location where somebody can come in, get a full range of services, and the satellite offices might have some of the services, not all of the services. They are somehow linked to the comprehensive center, but may not have everything that all of the one-stops have. If you're wondering, where is a one-stop in my area? You don't have to get on this map and find which dot is you. You can go to, and this is at the bottom of the slide, America's Service Locator. Lisa will talk later about the resources and where to find one-stops, and she will show you again the website. But on this America's Service Locator, you can type in your zip code and find your nearest one-stop, both satellite and comprehensive centers. If you don't know where your one-stop center is, I highly recommend that you find one and go, because it's really a fantastic place. There are different levels of services in the One-Stop Career Center. The first level is called core services. Core services are for anybody, and they are based on self-service primarily. If you need access to a computer, a fax machine, just office resources, this is the level of service that will probably suit you. It also has assessments, books, resources, resume classes, things like that that will help you in your job search. And it provides you really the tools you'll need to be effective in your job search. Doesn't always have a lot of staff-assisted one-to-one service, but that service is available, just not at the core level. The core services include a resource center, job postings, and they have, all the one-stops have business liaison folks. They're called different things, but essentially they meet with the business community, find out what they're looking for, and list their jobs in the one-stops, and come back and list the jobs. So the jobs are current, they're local, and they are what the business community is looking for. They also have people in the one-stops called career resource specialists. They probably also have different names. But essentially their job is to talk to you, find out where you are in your job search, where you'd like to be eventually, and strategize with you ways to get there. There are job search workshops in the one-stop where I work, and I believe it's similar in most. They will have things like how to write a resume, how to fill out a job application, how to perform an effective interview. Basics, but basics that we all need to learn. So if you haven't had an interview in a long time, or have wondered really where you can take somebody to get some interview practice or some interview skills, you can go with your job seekers and take some of these classes. They also have computer and internet access in the one-stop career centers. I mentioned before some of the basics: copiers, telephones, TTY, a resource library, general assistance. All of these are core services. What are the other services, you're probably asking? Well, the second level of service is our intensive services. These are based on eligibility. Pretty much if you've come in and used core services and are still unemployed after a length of time, somebody in the resource center will say, let's talk and find out how you could get more services and what it's going to take to find you a job. So at this point, you are referred to intensive services and into the workforce system, so to speak. They have somebody that will meet with you, a career counselor, one-on-one. They can do different kinds of assessments, career assessments, diagnostic testing. Let's figure out where you want to be and how we can get you there. They will look at why you aren't working, what are some of the things that are going on in your life that may be barriers to employment and ways to overcome those barriers. And also we'll sit down and create an IEP, which is not an individual, it is an individual employment plan, but different from the IEPs that we probably work on. But as you can see, our systems are very similar because we are working individually, creating employment plans and counseling people and assisting them into getting back to jobs. You are then working with somebody, you are part of their caseload, and their goal and their performance measures are to get you into a job, making a good wage with that you're going to stay on and also have some career growth. Those of you that do employment case management, this should sound very similar. Now you're thinking, well, why would I send somebody to a one-stop for this if I provide these same services? This is where the partnering with one-stops come in, and we'll talk about that very soon. The intensive services also, and this is under the law, provide pre-vocational training services, out of area job search. I just spoke to somebody recently who was in Alaska at a job center where they did training for somebody in a certain career that did not exist in that area in Alaska. And part of the deal was that they would not only train the person in this career field, but they would pay their relocation expenses to move to another state where that job did exist and connect them with the one-stop there. There are also training or intensive services available for people that are looking for a GED or future or further educational pursuits, and people looking for internships, work experiences. All those are available at the one-stop. The third and last level under the Workforce Investment Act are training services. The idea of the law is you come in and get core services. If that doesn't result in a job, they bump you up to an intensive service level where you have some one-on-one help and you work with somebody. If that still hasn't gotten you into a job, you may need some further training, and there's money available to assist you with that kind of training. They have occupational skills training available, on-the-job training available, and co-op programs, apprenticeship programs. All of these are linked to the one-stops and may be a resource to get you into the job that you're looking for. A lot of people need their skills upgraded. If you've never used a computer, if you're a great typist but you're still using your typewriter, you may need some upgraded training. Entrepreneurial, somebody wants to start a business, there are resources for that. Job readiness. You might have a lot of skills, but if you argue with your boss or you show up late and you can't get along with coworkers, maybe you need some really soft skills training. That is also offered. Customized training is geared toward businesses that need a very specific skill, and they link with businesses. They find people who have most of the skills the business is looking for, except for maybe one little piece, and they will customize training programs to give job seekers that added piece so they can go work for that company. Who can use a one-stop career center? Anybody can use a one-stop career center, as long as you're authorized to work in the United States. You do not have to be unemployed to use a one-stop career center. A lot of people are looking to change jobs, to upgrade, to find their dream job. Those people are also coming into the one-stops. What is universal access? Merriam Webster, when asked, said universal access is including or covering all or whole collectively or distributively without limit or exception. That's universal. Access is permission, liberty, or ability to enter, approach, communicate with, or pass to and from. Freedom or ability to obtain and make use of a way or means of access. Pretty much universal access says anybody can come in and use anything that they want in the one-stop career center. Universal access is not the same as physical access. Physical access is easy. Let's make sure the door is open. Let's make sure somebody can use a computer. Universal access is more than that. Universal access is looking at everything that's involved with the one-stop. Is the environment welcoming? Do you come in, do you have to use a separate door if you use a wheelchair? That's not welcoming. Is there nothing available for you in large print or on disk if you need to use JAWS or some kind of reading software? That's not welcoming. Do you come in and does the front desk say, oh, it's not welcoming. So a lot of that is both physical and just getting the one-stop comfortable working with people who have disabilities. That is the role of this Disability Program Navigator initiative that I work on, and we work with one-stops throughout our state of Maryland, but also throughout the country, creating and achieving universal access. So is it universally accessible in the intakes, in the orientations? Are the calendars and workshops ready and able to accommodate anybody wanting to take them? Is the print material accessible? Are the resource room ready and accessible? Are the attitudes of staff, are there comfort levels there? And that I think you will really find when you come into your one-stops. They work very, very hard on creating that kind of an atmosphere. Are there in-house initiatives going on? Are we looking at universal access? Community activities, are job fairs and outreach in the community also accessible for anybody interested? What does it take to accommodate customers with disabilities? We know about accommodations. Accommodations are really anything it takes to allow somebody to use the system, use the service that's there. It may be modifying equipment, it may be making things accessible. Mostly accommodation is about creative thinking and problem solving. Those of you that worked in the rehab field and work with people with disabilities and employment are probably very, very good problem solvers and very creative. When you talk about anything you do with job coaching or accommodations to allow somebody to do something, that is an accommodation. Where is a one-stop career center? Actually, Lisa will talk about this later, but this is the site where you can put in your zip code, www.servicelocator.org. Some suggestions for working with a one-stop and benefiting from their services and you being able to benefit them is, first of all, to find your closest one-stop and go there. One of the things that I like to do when I go to a different one-stop is go in and pretend that I'm just looking for a job. I don't go in and say I'm working a one-stop, I want to see yours. I just pretend, hey, I just moved here, I'm looking for a job, this is what I want to do, to see what kind of services they provide, what they have. So, and I like to ask about any accommodations or what kind of services do they have for people, job seekers with disabilities. Some have a lot, some don't have very many. Those that don't have very many would be a great resource for you with that kind of skill and knowledge to work with the one-stops to increase their skill and knowledge in the world of disability and rehab. And when you visit them, you'll see quickly where their needs are as far as finding somebody, finding services, and also their need for you. If they don't provide services for people with disabilities or could use some kind of guidance or a partnership, this is where you may very well be a great asset to your one-stop career center. And I really recommend that you meet with somebody there and talk about how you can work together to better serve people who have disabilities. With that, I want to thank you all very much for listening. And now I'm going to turn this over to Lisa Cuozzo. We welcome your questions at the end of this, and I hope you learned something. Thank you.
Okay, we're now going to start part 2 of our series, integrating customized employment into one-stop career center services. As Terry said, I'm Lisa Cuozzo, and I work at the Montgomery Works One-Stop Career Center on behalf of Transcend on customized employment efforts. So our first question, really, let's talk about the objectives for this part of the webcast. First is to identify the unique features of customized employment, and we will do that very quickly. We will then introduce integration techniques for use within the one-stop career center system, and also identify strategies for creating successful partnerships with the one-stop career centers. So how do we help people find good jobs? Good jobs are those that are matched to the job seeker's interests, skills, preferences, and need for accommodation. Good jobs are those that meet the specific needs of the employer. And good jobs, one way to find good jobs is through a proven strategy that many of us know and practice day to day on assisting job seekers with significant disabilities by using customized employment. What is customized employment? Though many of you may know this answer, we'll just go over it very quickly. Customized employment is, in a nutshell, the negotiation of a personalized employment relationship between a specific individual and an employer that meets the needs of both. And that's the true essence, is that it must meet the needs of both. Customized employment is not specifically for one targeted group. Customized employment may involve carving out tasks from an existing job. It may involve restructuring job tasks or creating new tasks that help the employer's operation in some way. Why do we customize? We customize because we want to be able to provide an avenue to employment for job seekers who feel that traditional job search methods might not necessarily meet their needs. Customized employment efforts are facilitated through a combination of services, supports, and resources that include the public and private partners, the public and private sectors, but also can include one-stop career centers. So the question, how do we integrate customized employment efforts into one-stop operations? Some of the answers. Integration technique number 1, understand workforce development. As part of rehab and as part of employment and training for people with disabilities, we often live in that silo of how to help someone with a disability and we remain in that silo. What we need to do as rehabilitation professionals working with people to help integrate people into the community is to work as a workforce development professional. So one of the things that you can do on behalf of yourself, your agency, and your job seekers is to attend a meeting of the Workforce Investment Board. Maggie talked about those a little bit earlier, and those are the guiding factors. The Workforce Investment Board is the guiding entity of the one-stop career centers. And in order to find a Workforce Investment Board nearest you, you can go to www.nawb.org, link onto the member directory, and you can find a meeting closest to you. Also learn workforce language, and there's been many webcasts through VCU and RRTC about stepping out of that box of rehabilitation and really learning what employers need, speaking in employers' language, and also learning workforce language, and that's something that's very key. Lastly, to understand workforce development, as Maggie mentioned earlier, you should visit your one-stop career center. Many people know their one-stops, are integrated within their one-stops, but many people throughout the country do not know what the one-stop career center is. All one-stop career centers have different names, which is one of the reasons why people may not know that it's in their backyard. But if you go to www.servicelocator.org, type in your zip code, you will come up with the one-stop center closest to you. Integration technique number 2. Get to know your one-stop staff and partners. Tour your local one-stop. Go into the one-stop career center, ask for a tour, meet with the people that work there, register for a workshop. As a professional working with people, helping to find jobs, it's very helpful if you know what people will experience prior to being referred or prior to you taking them to the one-stop for a tour. Also conduct informational interviews. That's one of the strategies that we use in customized employment, is helping people to find out more about different organizations, different jobs, different employer needs. And we have conducted informational interviews with all of the staff within the One-Stop Career Center, where Maggie and I work, just so that we know what people do, what their expectations are, and so forth. The other reason that you want to conduct informational interviews is because you want to be able to find out what their eligibility criteria is. Maggie touched on that earlier. Depending on where you are in the country, depending on what your local boards will put into place, may depend on what the eligibility criteria is, both for intensive services and for training services. Integration technique number 3. Become a one-stop resource. Inquire within your one-stop career center about what types of partnering arrangements could be possible. Could there be, or are there informal partnering arrangements? Are there formal partnering arrangements? Some formal partnering will require an MOU. Some informal partnering may be that you can offer to teach a workshop. You can offer to do disability awareness training. You want to make your agency a resource to that one-stop so that when they need something, they come to you. You want to talk to the business service representatives and ask to be on a recruitment job fair listserv so that you know when job fairs are coming up, so that you know and you can take individuals with whom you're working to recruitment events so that they have the opportunity to meet with additional employers. Also offer to link from your company's or your agency's website to the One Stop Career Center website, because then that shows that you're truly a part of workforce development. Integration technique number 4. Create WIFMs, which are the what's in it for me. Every partnership needs a what's in it for me. People are not necessarily going to do something out of the goodness of their heart. So therefore, you want to make sure that you can tell the one-stop how partnering with you is going to create a positive impact for them. All one-stops, as Maggie said, pieces of them are guided under the Workforce Investment Act. Those that work in intensive services need to have positive employment outcomes. You want to share those positive employment outcomes, and if you can work with people that achieve positive employment outcomes, such as wage increase, entered employment with training and certification, those are all things that the one-stops through the Workforce Investment Act, they want to see that, because that will, number one, help their funding from year to year, but also makes them look good in terms of positive performance. Another WIFM, or what's in it for me, through vocational rehabilitation is to partner with your local VR agency, because if you are working with people through the one-stop that are getting employed, then after 90 days, as we all know, that is a case closure. So it's a positive performance outcome for you and your agency, a positive employment outcome for the one-stop, and a positive employment outcome for VR. In addition, other referral sources and service providers receive assistance with job development and employment efforts. So those are all just general and generic, i.e. generic, or generic, created WIFMs. Integration technique number 5, streamline service delivery. Some of the things within the Montgomery Works One-Stop Career Center in Maryland that has worked and has created true customized employment outcomes for job seekers has been a single point of contact with Voc Rehab. We have one person that we call who then goes through the whole Voc Rehab area or their computers to find out information that we need, but to have a single point of contact is a huge, huge benefit to the One-Stop Career Center system. We have also put together bi-monthly BPAO meetings, or Benefits Planning Assistance and Outreach, through Social Security, where a BPAO specialist will come into the one-stop twice a month and meet with absolutely anyone that needs assistance or has questions regarding SSI or SSDI. Within Montgomery Works, we have also created business outreach teams, where it's not just a job service, it's not just WIA. Anyone that provides business outreach comes together, meets together, brainstorms together, so that we're targeting anyone that talks to employers on how to access services. And lastly, just another example of streamlined service delivery was that we have been able to partner with intensive service customers, with their counselors, to be able to provide additional services and truly provide some positive employment outcomes for people who have not been able to get jobs in the past. Because, as Maggie said, those of us that have done this for very many years do it because we are creative, do it because we do think outside the box, and that's a very big benefit in going into workforce development. Why partner? Excuse me. If you're going to partner anywhere, there needs to be something in it for both partners, all 3 partners, however many partners. So as you go into your one-stop, what benefits do you have to offer? The benefits to the one-stop would be that your agency or your organization would be an additional resource. You would offer expertise that they may not necessarily have, but then could use. And that you could also offer an expanded employer outreach through other partners that interact with employers. So you're actually increasing their business outreach. You can learn how to incorporate, and they can learn how to incorporate, customized employment strategies within other hard-to-serve populations. For example, at Montgomery Works, we're currently using customized employment efforts to assist veterans with significant barriers to employment, and also people who are in reentry programs or ex-offenders coming out of prison to then use the same methodology that we use in customized employment for people with significant disabilities to use with people that just have more difficult or have more barriers to employment. Another benefit to the One Stop is just additional partnering and multi-agency resource sharing. And who doesn't like additional resources? Why partner? The benefits to the disability service provider, such as yourselves. Many additional services are located at the One Stop in one location that can be accessed by all job seekers. You can also expect an expanded employer outreach by partnering. And we all need more employers if we're looking to help people find jobs. The core services of the One Stop are available for anyone, including yourselves, to augment the discovery process, that first process that many of us know within customized employment. There are also opportunities, many opportunities, depending on your area, for multi-agency collaboration and resource sharing. What are some of the advantages to the job seekers for whom you support and who go to the One Stop? A job seeker with a disability is integrated into the larger community of job seekers, which for many is a huge benefit. There is ready, accessible information on business information for job exploration, so that can assist the job seeker in terms of exploring more opportunities. And there are opportunities to make many employer contacts and set up informational interviews and site visits through becoming a partner within the One Stop. Collaboration, as we all know, will lead to not just a win-win, but a win-win, win-win-win outcome, because everybody wins. Employers throughout the community will gain talents of a qualified worker, as well as an expanded confidence in providing effective workplace supports. Job seekers will secure satisfying jobs. Employment specialists will achieve placement goals. One Stops will meet performance measures, and the community will gain an additional contributing taxpayer. There are some additional resources between both Maggie's presentation and mine that we've condensed into one. Some of them are here, and there certainly are others. But some of the ones that we use and that we promote often is the ADA Information and IT Center. If you log on to adainfo.org or call the 800 number that's listed on your screen, no matter where you are in the country, you will be connected to the ADA Center within your region. ADA centers offer information, technical assistance, material, trainings, newsletters, all regarding the Americans with Disabilities Act and information technology, and as they relate to all of the different public services. Another wonderful resource is Career One Stop. CareerOneStop.org is a resource of integrated suites, so to speak, of national websites that help the business professional, job seekers, students, workforce development professionals, all regarding employment and career resources. Through Career One Stop is where you can also find America's Service Locator. They have America's Job Bank. There's a lot of very, very valuable information that you can find on Career One Stop for both yourself as a workforce development professional, but also for the job seekers for whom you're serving. The National Center on Workforce and Disability for Adults, you can locate at onestops.info. NCWD provides training, technical assistance, policy analysis, and information to improve access for all within the workforce development system. They are the technical assistance provider, actually, to all of the 26 customized employment grants throughout the country, and chronic homelessness grants and faith-based organization grants. They do a lot of wonderful work. Another resource is the Maryland Customized Employment Partnership website, which is marylandcep.org. On this website is where you can find information about how customized employment efforts truly have been integrated into one-stop generic operations. We publish a newsletter quarterly. We'd be happy to add anyone to the list, so just let us know. But all of the information, there are tools and resources on providing customized employment to the general public. The Job Accommodation Network, which hopefully all of you know about, but just in case you don't, JAN is an incredible resource in looking for accommodations and looking for information about the ADA, very easily accessed at janweb.ic. Oh, I guess it's not as easy anymore. It used to be just WVU.edu, but now it's janweb.icdi.wvu.edu. Jan is an incredible resource for you and your job seeker customers. Through the community inclusion is Access for All, which is a wonderful manual for resources and meeting the needs of all one-stop customers with disabilities. It's through the Institute of Community Inclusion. That's a long website, so I won't read it to you because you can see it and you can link right onto it. But it's a wonderful resource manual that can be downloaded in PDF and also in Word. Cornell University has a School of Industrial and Labor Relations and a wonderful program on employment and disability. Lots of good information and statistics can be found on this website. As you're writing grants and you may need statistical information, this is a good place to look. HR Tips, Disability and Human Resources, Tips for Human Resources Professionals, another good resource if you've never seen that one before. Two more. Maryland Workforce Promise is an agency that has been put together to promote the personal and professional independence of individuals with disabilities by effecting systems change to eliminate barriers to employment. Maryland Workforce Promise has many, but two specifically to our discussion today, wonderful web-based courses, one on customized employment and one on Social Security work incentives, and you can link onto those free of charge. Lastly, of course, TTAP, www.t-tap.org, the training and technical assistance providers funded by the Office of Disability Employment Policy, U.S. Department of Labor. With that, I'd like to thank you. Hopefully those out there are still awake and ready to ask some questions. Maggie and I will be ready and able to answer questions in just a few moments. So get them together and send them on. Thank you.